You may know us through our picture-perfect presence.
You may know us from our many obsessive angles.
The restless framing of our faces.
And a filter for just the right feel.
You may know us through
crops,
snap,
and slap on the internet.
Through cheeky captions and a passion for self-indulgence. You may know us as the selfie generation.
And we wouldn't be surprised.
We've been called the me generation.
Myself.
And I.
Lazy, entitled, narcissistic.
Gen Y.
A generation of we want more than we deserve.
It seems that everyone nowadays is shocked at our obsession in making ourselves the sole subject of our lenses.
But with every shot we take,
every smile we fake,
these photos are relating us with the degrading of our worth.
Like, no, we can't be visionaries or dignitaries because, well, selfie is in the dictionary.
And some think our vocabulary too limited to express our identity. So they like to speak for us.
In 2013, Time magazine released a cover article titled "The Me, Me, Me Generation," describing our youth's tendency of entitlement, narcissism, and stunted development as a result. In 2014, Time magazine then released
Quiz, Are You a Narcissist?, where 40 questions determine where you stand on the scale.
We are narcissists because when asked to choose between A, I will be a success, and B, I'm not concerned with success, I chose A, and this was considered a point against me. But since when has ambition been equated with narcissism?
A, I like showing off my body, and B, I don't like showing off my body. I chose A because I have a positive body image, but since when has self-love been equated with narcissism?
A, I like to be complimented, and B, compliments embarrass me. I chose A because who doesn't love a good compliment? I mean, we all have our own self-esteem engines, and a little flattering fuel keeps us running forward. It is only human to have insecurity.
It could be possible that the selfie celebrates the moments when we are at our best.
We may be a generation of confidence and ambition and blanket statement greatness. We're not the one-sided sculptures the media has made us out to be. The suicide rate among young adults has tripled since the 1950s.
Why are we squinting at ants when there are elephants in the room? It is true that our generation has challenges to grapple with, but as of right now, the world is only giving us permission to feel ashamed of what we photograph.
They say we are lazy, self-entitled narcissists, and yet we're expected to save the future. For the sake of our talk and for your understanding, Emma and I should probably clarify our definitions of millennials. Now, we believe, along with the majority of studies, that millennials were born in the 80s and 90s. This means that anyone who's like 16 to 36 is technically a millennial. And right now, there's a lot of talk going on about millennials, and a lot of negative talk that we've noticed. And a lot of the people who like to comment on our generation, some naysayers, we might call them, they like to use these big blanket statements like, all millennials are overly ambitious, or all millennials are narcissistic. And some would even go as far as to say you can diagnose all millennials with narcissism personality disorder, which is a very serious and complex mental illness that is actually diagnosable in the Diagnostics and Statistics Manual 5, which is like the main book that psychologists refer to when diagnosing serious mental illnesses. Now, this disorder, it is a very complex thing that just one of the symptoms looks like this. That is a very complex idea and a complex sentence. And I think it's a little far-fetched to diagnose our entire generation with this disorder when just one symptom looks like this. I think there's a lot more to divulge there that's actually stigmatizing mental illnesses even more than they already are. And the whole narcissism thing where they say millennials scored like 30% higher on the narcissism personality index, I think that is a little far-fetched as well, because as we disproved about 2 minutes ago, that test is just A or B answers. How is it that the cold, hard data of today is as black or white as yes or no answers?
Why is it that the criticism of our generation stems from adapting to a world that is handed to us?
Every person before us has as much to do with the molding of our stereotypes as we do.
And despite the fact that they are not one of us, they seem to have a lot to say about us, they being every generation that has come before.
They say we are struggling with unemployment in a recession where our parents have most of our jobs.
They say we have doubled the amount of students who want to be wealthy.
We also have doubled the amount of shootings from our parents' generation.
They say we are more likely to complain on the internet.
We are Game Boys and GameCube.
Television shows on YouTube.
Tamagotchis instead of hula hoops.
We put our faith in anonymity.
We are an online identity.
We are a profile, privacy, quizzes, tests.
Find out which shape I best fit into. Find out how to compartmentalize all of our diversity into boxes to be ticked off.
It is easier to paint us in all the same shade than to give credit to our real-life presence. They say we have big ideas, with bigger ambitions to match. Now, I want you to think right now about some of the millennials who are already changing our global landscape today. Maybe one of the names that comes to mind is Malala Yousafzai, who we've already heard about today, who is the 2014 Nobel Peace Prize winner and an advocate for girls' education all over the world. Now, if you're familiar with Malala's work, you already know that she has an undeniable sense of personal drive and dedication and devotion to the work that she's doing. But as the saying goes, it takes a village to raise a child. So who was it that instilled this sense of empowerment in Malala? One of those answers to that question is her family, and specifically her father, who, like Malala, is a social activist. And he was the person from a young age who told Malala that her ideas and her visions for the future in relation to girls' education were worth pursuing, however unrealistic they may have seemed, however wild they may have seemed, however overly ambitious or looked down upon they may have seemed. And I think that this kind of push towards the wildly ambitious is something our generation needs more of today. I'm not saying that this kind of parenting is obsolete in our society, but like I said, it's something we need more of. From a young age, our parents tell us that we can be anything. So we tell them that we want to be CEOs and astronauts and doctors and scientists. So as we grow older, we're steered towards options that are safer and stable, things that offer security. And I think this is one of the biggest contradictions that millennials today experience. It's like telling a kid to climb to the very top of a diving board, telling them to believe in themselves and to dream big, and just as they're about to leap into the water, telling them to stop. I think instead of that kind of system, I think what's more important is to use this time in our lives, a time where we are our most ambitious, our most optimistic, to invest in ourselves, in our wild ideas, in our passions, in our interests, in our education. Because ultimately, it's not an investment in ourselves. It is not a selfish investment because it is an investment in the world that we will one day inherit. A trademark of adolescence is seeing possibility where the older mind sees limitations. Let me shrug off this anonymity and show you what I can do face to face. So allow me to introduce myself. My name is Emma. I'm interested in going into science and post-secondary, but I'll never stop calling myself a poet. I do not choose my emotions based on the outputs of Facebook quizzes. I'm here because I exist.
My name is Andrew, and I've only ever wanted to be what I am today, so I call this narcissism a kind of self-actualization. The only reason I say I will be a success is because I trust myself that I'll be happy with whatever I choose.
We are asking you to use ambition as a vehicle for movement.
To be unabashedly passionate and not call yourself a villain for it.
We are asking you to see our skills instead of our search history.
To see that we want so much more than our parents' basement stability.
We are asking you to see a person behind the profile pic.
Learn the way we choose to dream before you condemn us through computer screens.
So to the baby boomers and Gen X.
To the critics up to the podium next.
When you say that there is a bulldog breathing the world's problems down our necks, it is undoubtedly true. But when you say that there is no hope for today's youth,
you're calling us generation doomed to repeat your mistakes.
The mistake of believing growing pains can stand in the way of greatness, that ambition is our biggest barrier instead of our catalyst. We can be great,
but only if you dare see dimension in our identity. There are things about us that a selfie simply cannot capture.
We are not just a trending hashtag
or a passing phenomenon. You can say we're selfish, obsessed with ourselves, even narcissists.
According to the studies made by everyone but us, you'd be right.
And if you're wondering, yes, my parents told me I could be anything, so I chose to be myself.
Give us the choice to call ourselves
Generation Resilient, Generation Flesh and Blood, not Generation Pixel. We're so much more than cheeky captions.
More than a passion for self-indulgence.
We are a generation of individuals who cannot be defined by the ambiguous selfie.
With longer life expectancies, you can expect to see so much more of us.
So let this be our day. Our generation is not over. Today we are just beginning, and our picture has yet to develop.